سبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وله الملك في السماوات والأرض يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم وتبارك اسم ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام ومن أجل ذلك أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إلها واحدا أحدا فردا صمدا حيا قيوما وترا لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا وأشهد أن محمدا عبده المصطفى اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ورسوله المنتجب أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون وأشهد أن الساعة آتية لا ريب فيها وأن الله يبعث من في القبور وإليه النشور. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدان والأقربين صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Recently, we have been blessed with the anniversary of the wiladat of Sayyida Zainab bint Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, in which whenever we come to these occasions and we come to remember the great ones and the great personalities that we have been fortuned to come to know via the speeches that the narrators of the great seerah of these individuals come about. We come to live what they have passed over to us and try, inshallah, find and take inspiration from them through their lens in what we are presented with us today. And through doing so, we come to actualize these great personalities in every era and every time and every year. And so that although their bodies may not be amongst us today, that their spirit is pervasive amongst the Muslim Ummah as a whole and at large, so that they act as a catalyst in their stances and in their words and in their positions in respect to the times today. Now, when it comes to Zainab alayhi salam, we find that she came to sacrifice herself for a version of Islam that was contrary to what was being promoted and being upheld and being represented by the personality of Yazid, or if we wanted to generalize it to today's, what is Yazidism today, or what did Yazid represent? Or what was contrary to the times and the place? And I want to discuss this, inshallah, in its application today with the ongoing crisis that is taking place within the Middle East currently and the oppression that is taking place against the Palestinians, inshallah. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The Islam of Zainab alayhi salam, we find, had the following characteristics. It had justice. It upheld. It was one that she felt that was worthy of sacrifice for these characteristics. Number one, justice and opposition to tyranny. Zainab alayhi salam has said, أظننت يا يزيد أنه حين أخذت علينا أقطار الأرض وأفاق السماء فأصبحنا نساق كما تساق الأسارى أن بنا الله بنا على الله هوانا وبك عليه كرامة. Oh Yazid, did you think that once the horizons of the heaven and the earth were taken from us, and that we have been taken through the valleys as if we were captives, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made you more honorable than us? You find that here Zainab alayhi salam is showing that the Islam that is worth sacrificing for, the characteristics of it, is not one of plunder, where Islam represented by Yazid was as if it was using Islam so that he may plunder the lands and to oppress the people that are weak. And we find all the prophets that came before were all in opposition to some kind of tyranny. So how can Yazid turn it around as such, to be a tyrant in the name of Islam? And therefore, we find that in this saying that Zainab alayhi salam is emanating the principle, Inna akrabakum Allahi atqakum. Surely he who is most noble before God is he that is God-wary or God-conscious. Also in the verse of the Holy Quran that I recited at the start, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who believe, be persistently standing firm in justice, regardless of what you may face in your life. May they be tyrants, may they be close ones to you, and be witnesses for Allah, even against your own selves. So be introspect, stand against the dhulm and oppression that may come about from one's own self. It is not about saving face. No, it's about owning up if one is wrong. And this is the Islamic position. Even if it's against yourselves, your parents and your relatives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding each and every one of us to even go against their own selves and and their relatives and their parents, where you'll find that the loyalty that is being enacted in this day and age is even being loyal to the ally in their oppression of others. When you find the NATO today, the alliance of the NATO, what is it? It is a collection of countries that have come together in the west of the north of the Atlantic, to support each other and to defend each other regardless of what atrocities are undertaken. And we find that Israel is considered like a special position in this NATO, even though it is not, you could say, of the north of the Atlantic as such. It is kind of brought in and supported. In the hadith, we find that in Sunan Abi Dawood, أفضل الجهاد كلمة عدل عند سلطان جائر. The best of struggles is to speak a word of truth in the face of a tyrannical ruler. This is what the Holy Prophet ﷺ has come to us with, not to be submissive and subdue ourselves, in the face of those that are put forward, however mighty they may be in the lands. For this, according to Zainab alayhi salam, and what she represented, even if the horizons of the heavens and the earth have been stripped of them, this does not raise the tyrants in a higher rank before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in contrast to those that are on the path of truth. We also find that in Nahj al-Balagha, Imam Ali alayhi salam has said, أشد الناس حسرة يوم القيامة رجلا وصف عدلا ثم خالفه إلى غيره. The most regretful person on the day of judgment is one who preached justice but acted unjustly. And we find that here also. It is not about saving face. It is not about having a duality or two-facedness or hypocrisy. For the hypocrites were the fitna of Medina, as we know. It is not something that we have only today in the politics of the world, where we find just because the powerful have backed a certain position, that it is where we give them the benefit of the doubt. No, it is about standing firm in the face of any tyrannical acts and tyrannical regimes, although that we may be, materially, seemingly misadvantaged. Inshallah, we'll continue in Shaykh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wal-Asr. إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين، سيدنا ومولانا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين وعلى أصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، عباد الله، أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله والورع عن مكاره. My dear brothers and sisters, I enjoin you and myself to observe the God consciousness and the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to abstain from all that He has prevented and obliged us to abstain from. Now, just to continue our talk, it is important in the sacrificing for the version of Islam that is not subjugated due to the tyrannical rulings of the time. We find that this characteristic in the Islam that Zainab alayhi salam found that it was worthy sacrificing for was one of the key principles of why this Islam that she found to be one that she stands strong for. Although that her brother Hussein alayhi salam and the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, the household of the Prophet, were taken as if they were captives, to still stay staunch in our position and not to be weakened and not to lose any resolve. For this in itself would give leave for any tyrants to employ their power, knowing that their audience will give up ultimately whenever this power is exercised. But when we have a community that is cognizant that and instructed by the Lord of this existence, and permeates all this through this existence and through the agency of the human being, to stand firmly and staunchly against tyrannical rulings, so that truth is prevalent and truth is maintained in societies at large and in the order that has been set up of the cosmos at large, that they act as the foundation for truth and justice to continue forth. What you'll find today, you'll find that unfortunately post, the Ottoman Empire collapse after World War One, that you'll find that after the dismantlement, it's only 80 years ago you'll find World War One. And if anyone reads into it, you'll just find a big banker that supported the idea and has been even addressed with the Balfour Declaration directly. Everyone is aware of this. It's all there, available on the internet. And even though that our UK government today is incomplete, says that it's an upholder of human rights, and a lot of our community here sees that it was a shambles. Just because a big banker stood behind the Zionist vision, and supported it, that it's not something that is only restricted to some historical event 80 years ago. We find the complacence towards injustice being maintained until today, even to the degree that we are willing to send our sons and daughters here from our armed forces to be sacrificed for what? A big banker being supportive of this idea historically? What is this? Why, we're repeating the mistakes that have been committed in the past and maintaining them. Why? Are we willing just to save face? Wouldn't it be worthy that if we are true, we want justice here? No, we don't live in an island. Times change. In the past, we had the Roman Empire, which was much more bigger than the imperialist rule that we have today. In controlling people and in depending on divide and rule, things change, times change, convictions change. How much can we try and keep people in their ignorance through the media? And in doing so, depend upon someone coming one day and being born into this life, that you may keep them 100 years backwards, but you'll find some individuals born into this life that will surpass 100 years or 200 years through their looking to the future. How can you depend that this may not come about? Is it sustainable as a model to be able to think that you are going to live forever and maintain your power, and that the power is always going to be yours? This is a huge, huge gamble, and history shows that this has not worked for past, hegemonic regimes and oppressive regimes. The Islam that Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam also upheld was therefore also upholding truth and with integrity. لن أذل نفسي أمام أحد سوى الله is a famous saying by Zainab alayhi salam. I will never degrade myself before anyone except God. ولن أستسلم لأحد سواه, nor yield to anyone but Him. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or God the Almighty, has set up the balance, has set up the course of justice. And it is down, therefore, for man to be of agency for this, regardless of the tamperings of those that look to corrupt this system of justice and equity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or God the Almighty, also says in the Holy Quran, وَلَا تَلْبِسُوا الْحَقَّ بِالْبَاطِلِ وَتَكْتُمُوا الْحَقَّ وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Do not mix the truth with falsehood or conceal the truth while you know it. The truth is not just something that needs to flutter our emotions or we play intellectual gymnastics with it, or acrobatics with it, where we're trying to conceptually, just enjoy the beauty of the truth. No, it is something that through the agency of man, it comes to realize itself, physically and in a concrete sense, through our social interactions and through those values that we look to sing for, maybe, or to commemorate. No, we need to be of agency for these things. So the true value of the revelation, whatever has revealed in the past, even prior to the Holy Quran, is only realized through the enactment of man. For it's through man that the truth is established, even if many people come to pass upholding the truth, and the truth prevails any individual life, my dear brothers and sisters. And this is something that we need to always keep in mind of. We may lose our lives for the truth, but the truth surpasses each one of our lives, and we're contributors to its enactment through our resolve and through our integrity. Plenty more to say, but I'd like to stop here in the consciousness of time. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك ونبيك وصفيك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك، وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين وأخي رسول الله رب العالمين، عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم، وصل على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدتي نساء العالمين، وصل على سبتي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة، وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي عليهم الصلاة والسلام. اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب الزمان. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم عجل فرجه وسهل مخرجه. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات، إنك قريب مجيب الدعوات، إنك ماحي السيئات، إنك قابل التوبات، إنك عليم في الباقيات الصالحات. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين